The beacons that we saw earlier, here they are again, were lit at the end of the day's commemoration in the UK. Lighting fire beacons to mark great events is a tradition stretching back centuries. 26 D-Day veterans were at an hour-long service at the National Arboretum today, attended by the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. During an informal lunch beforehand, the two royals mingled with guests and chatted to veterans who ranged in age from 96 to 104. Now let's go back and join James. James, given President Biden's words today, there's quite a lot of politics and diplomacy, maybe more than we expected, wrapped up with this D-Day anniversary.
Yes, surprisingly amount from both President Biden and from the King. Although, as I'm talking to you, the fireworks here at Arromanches have just started. I'll try and keep out of the way because I'm sure you're more interested in watching them than me. But back to that politics, President Biden's message was, listen, all this talk of remembering, there's no point in remembering if you don't learn the lessons from the past, if you don't learn the lessons of the mistakes of the 30s, which ultimately made the D-Day landings necessary. And in terms of Ukraine, he said, look, if we walk away from Ukraine, we will be forgetting what happened here on these hallowed beaches. And words from the King, milder as you would expect. He said, free nations must oppose tyranny. It's not so unusual for D-Day to turn political. 10 years ago, when President Putin and the then Ukrainian leader were here, well, they launched a process to try and stop the Crimea War, the Crimea invasion turning into something worse. That didn't work out well. But it does make it slightly more surprising, therefore, that Rishi Sunak didn't hang around to get together with his fellow leaders, as we saw Lord Cameron doing. On these occasions, often much talk is done without officials around, and perhaps it was a missed opportunity for him there, although it has to be said they will be meeting next week again at the G7.
OK, James, magnificent fireworks behind you. Thank you very much indeed. Before we go, let's return to the commemorations marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Tonight, fireworks, not artillery shells or gunfire, are exploding on the beach at Arromanches as events draw to a close. Here in the UK, the beacons lit to mark the anniversary perhaps symbolise those hard-won freedoms which the D-Day troops secured with their blood and bravery. We'll leave you with the story of the longest day in the words of those who served and survived and who want their comrades who didn't make it to be remembered. Good night.
Yeah, it was a tough time. I think, to be quite frank, we were all scared, but when you're that age and you're macho, you don't show it, do you?
I was very lucky. You know, I mean, the shells was going over our heads, you know. At the time, I was only 18. I'd never been out the country.
You were scared of showing you were frightened for fear of letting your friends down. Oh, I mean, everybody popped up for the sake of your friends.
My job was to make these maps. They were for ships which were coming in. I felt it was something useful, and I was glad of that.
Something like this takes me right back.
We weren't told anything. It was pouring with rain, and we thought, oh no, not another flipping practice in this one. They were being killed like flies because there was a pillbox and it got the eye on them. And as they was coming down the net, they were just falling into the sea. I hope there's never anything again like it.
I remember him every day. That's all you can do. Just remember who they were. Think about them every morning. Think about them all the time.
Why? Why did it happen?
Well, hundreds of beacons have been lit up across the UK to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which of course we marked extensively yesterday. Britain's towns and villages proudly sparked flames in remembrance of the thousands of lives lost, and to bring an end to that emotional day of celebration, in fact a few days of commemorations over the past few days. Let's have a look at the papers, shall we? See what's making headlines this morning as you get up wherever you are. A number of them featuring poignant images of the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. The Metro here leading with a striking silhouetted image taken on a beach in Normandy yesterday with the headline, "At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them." Evocative picture. The Telegraph also focusing on D-Day, different photograph, this one of members of the Royal Marines as they landed in France holding wreaths before they travelled onto the commemoration ceremony to thank the fallen for their service.